Hey there guys, it's Metro, and tonight we're taking a look at the Pryce encounter in Pokemon Crystal Kaizo. And on the screen you see his team. Now there's about 3 real threats. The first one is the Tentacruel. Now the list that shows the moves there is not correct. It has Attract, so you're going to see how I take that out. It's pretty easy if you can just counter the Attract. The Attract, obviously, as we've seen in a lot of these fights, can just be a huge headache. The next one is definitely Lapras. Lapras is very bulky. I choose to take a very conservative route, but there's definitely room to be made on that fight. You can definitely do anything you want there. I just realized that that is his bulkiest, so you really want to avoid the heal. If you can do exactly as I did here, you'll either one-shot or basically flat two-shot everything, so you should never actually worry about heals. This is a very big deal here as we get later into the gyms. Things are going to start getting fluid here. You're going to have to replace, you're not always going to have the same team. You're not going to have the same options. Things aren't going to be as cut and dry as they were early. So it's important to recognize matchup contribution and how each teammate can actually contribute to the fight. Either way, we'll show you what we do for that. And then Articuno, #1 threat. I'm trying to limit myself to one super cheese tactic per battle just because you literally can just bring, you could bring 3-4 of these types of Pokemon and crush these teams. So that's going to be the one. If there is ever a Pokemon that you need to one-shot with Wobbufffett, it is definitely that one. Without further ado, let's head right into it. I'll explain the strategy as we go, and we'll see everything in action. Alright, so here you'll see the team. It's nothing too special. We have Nidoking, Exeggcutor, Charizard, Hitmochan, Hypno, and Wobbufett. There's a few specifics here that we need to talk about, but basically, long story short, we're going for matchup for matchup. Strong, stab, 2 times effective, anything like that is what we're after. I was able to do this without retooling the team too much. Obviously, a lot of these Pokemon you have seen me use in previous videos. I really urge you guys to take a look at those previous videos if you haven't seen them, because a lot of the strategy is kind of derived from past strategy, so it may not make a lot of sense to you. Either way, the matchup we're going for here specifically is not necessarily Nidoking, but it is a strong physical attacker with a stab, 2 times effective move. That is Earthquake. Alright, Jynx has very high special defense, so in order to one-shot this thing, you're definitely going to need a strong physical 2 times effective move, which is absolutely Earthquake. There is some a pull here where I don't one-shot it, and you'll see that that's just a roll of the dice, but it's pretty important to do so. Next up is Piloswine, and it's the complete opposite here at this time. He is very physical defensive, so you need a very strong special attacker, and for me that is Charizard. It really doesn't matter. Experiment on these first 2 slots. These 2 Pokemon are extremely easy to beat. They have a very glaring weakness, and you could exploit it quite easily with any adequately leveled Pokemon. So that would be Charizard for me. 1 shot with Flamethrower. I don't think I've ever had this not 1 shot. I've done these 5-10 times at least every single Pokemon. So yeah. Good choice there. Next up now, this is where things start to get a little bit complicated. It's going to be Tentacruel. Alright, we'll talk about why that is complicated here. Tentacruel is a Pokemon that has Attract, at least it doesn't say he does on the list, but he has attracted me. He has made me fall in love. So my original choice was Lantern to Lightning Bolt him down, but I had to switch to my trusty Hypno, if you remember back from way back in the day, basically for the exact same reason. He was immune to whatever, I think it was Nidoqueen's Attract on Whitney. I think it was on Whitney, yeah. So this is the exact same reason here. We're just bringing him into Psychic, and as you'll notice, we take him down yellow bar, so that's always a 2-shot, and not low enough to trigger the full restore. The full restores would wreak havoc on the strategy if he does do it. If he does, I would just recommend re-rolling, because you're not going to win. It's just too much of a mess when they start healing like that. You might get lucky, but in general, every time I've ever had one of these gym leaders heal, it's usually the end of the fight. Too many things can go wrong after that. So yeah, Hypno, very good against this Tentacruel for that reason alone. Psychic, he's not an incredible damage dealer, but he does the job. Now here is the really difficult. This is definitely the hardest Pokemon on the team with this strategy, so it's up to you. You guys can handle it how you want. I've always liked fighting types against Lapras, because obviously she has moderate special defense, moderate physical defense, a lot of health, and you kind of just have to power through it. So I got the Hitmochan from the dude back in Mount Mortar. If you guys haven't seen that guide, you definitely want to check that out. But either way, we made it evolve into Hitmochan, who is a very speedy and defensive Pokemon, which is very good for Crystal Kaizo. High jump kick, very high volatility move. If it lands, it's always going to do good damage, so you don't really need that extra boost from high physical attack. But Hitmochan had nothing to sneeze at. Unfortunately, we draw the Confuse Ray there, and that's pretty much it. This thing, yeah, long story short, it wipes us out here. I'm just showing you this because I'm telling you guys how things can go here. Sorry. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. The leftovers obviously kicking in there, not helping. And then there's a max potion. So like I said, anytime these guys heal, you might as well just hang it up, put the shoes on the bench, because you're not going to be able to win this race. But either way, another high jump kick does miss because, you know, that's just how the ability works. It sometimes can miss, and when it does, you're going to take a lot of damage. Not a lot of damage, but it's a wasted turn. High jump kick does land this time with only 8 HP left, so I would need to crit and one-shot it in order to win the battle, which I do not crit or one-shot it. So that is the reset there. This is the hardest Pokemon, like I said in the pre-log there. I could definitely just use another, like Gengar. I could bring Gengar in here and have him explode, and it would one-shot the Lapras. But I want to try to keep that to a minimum. And here's just an example of, you know, ways that the basics can go wrong. If you don't one-shot this Jynx, you can't use Earthquake, guys. She's gonna one-shot your Pokemon. So yeah, you gotta be careful. You gotta be able to outspeed and outdamage, or you can go maybe a little more bulky, but I kind of like the speed and one shot there. It's always my favorite tactic when possible. So anyway, now we're back to the kill pull. This is where we do everything perfectly, quote unquote perfectly. It's not too complicated. You're gonna see the same thing for Jynx and for Piloswine, excuse me. Very easy matchups there. Those two are definitely the easiest Pokemon out of the 6, so you can really use anything there. I always like to go 1v1. I like to have a Pokemon for every single Pokemon that he has. So these two really are completely interchangeable. In fact, if you had much stronger options for the other ones, you could even just go 4-on-6, easily beat that. This time I think I do use all 6 Pokemon on my team, but most of it is really academic at this point. These two first Pokemon are really, they are not very strong whatsoever. They're very strong damage dealers, let's put it that way, but they have exploitable weaknesses. So we're going to see the Tentacruel fight go to plan here. It's nothing special, but like I'm telling you right now, if you can't hit this thing, you know, if you get poisoned and you get attracted or whatever it is that prevents you from dealing damage, it's going to be pretty difficult. I would definitely stick with this strategy if I were you. You can simply brute force it if you prefer, or simply roll the dice and say, well, forget the status effects, we'll just keep rolling until we don't get them. That's certainly a viable option, because obviously if you don't get them, then the fight is a complete joke. He's not done anything. He's wasted his turns. So yeah, that's good. Sludge Bomb, you know, it's never going to kill this Pokemon. It's never going to kill a Hypno. Barely does about not even 3/5, so it can't two-shot me. It would have to crit, and I think even with the poison, I don't think that would kill me. So also, you can crit on that. I think that might kill it. It probably wouldn't based on this damage roll, but once again, not really a big deal. So you see the full extent of the damage there. That was a low roll on that Sludge Bomb. The second one usually takes me down a little bit lower, but never in any danger here. It would have to crit to even come close to killing me. Okay, now things get a little bit interesting here, so let's talk about this. Lapras. What we're aiming for here is just straight up two moves, and it's dead. All right. You should be able to eat a move, like as long as you don't eat the Confuse Ray, which we saw on the first pull here with Lapras. That is a big deal. You're gonna have to roll the dice there once again. You're just not gonna be able to guarantee yourself that 100% condition, which I always like to establish. So as far as I'm concerned, this, you know, provided you don't get confused, is an easy condition here to meet. You're just going to do damage, and in 2 turns, the mob will be dead. Very simple. Ice Beam also can freeze. I kind of take a deep breath here as he chooses Ice Beam, because I'm like, all right, this could be even worse than the Confuse Ray. It could be a lot worse, because if that freezes, then that's definitely it. I'm not going to have a chance. But yeah, so there you go. So the high jump kick, you know, gamble works, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you guys want to choose a different fighting type. Maybe you want to choose something else, a different type in general. Or you want to just go straight out explode strat, which you definitely can do. It would be very, very easy to do. And here's like I said, I'm trying to limit myself to one real cheese strat, one Kaizo strat, quote unquote, the things that you would only really ever be able to do in this game. And this is Articuno here, guys. He only has physical moves. Alright, so this is why we go Wobbs instead of an Explosion, because he has Sky Attack. He's always going to use that. He has Sky Attack and Ice Beam, which are both physical in this generation. So you always just press the counter button and you survive the hits very easily. Even though I'm only 70, like his level is, it seems irrelevant. I think you can probably beat this thing with like a level 50 Wobbufett. I don't know how much damage counter actually does, but I mean, it's just one shot at legendary Pokemon, guys. So this guy is the MVP of this series, no doubt. I'm definitely going to make some great use of him. And then the final Pokemon is the easiest one, definitely the easiest one if you have a Grass type. Just go Grass type here, guys. This is very simple. Quagsire doesn't have anything special. You just outspeed him with a Grass move, and he dies 100% of the time. So thanks for watching, guys. I found Pryce. Like I said earlier, we're starting to get to the point now where strategy kind of is more amorphous. It's a little bit less acute. Like you don't use this specific Pokemon because it's the only option. You just match up type properly. Choose where you want to kind of cheese, where you want to explode, where you want to counter with Wobbufett, etc. And this is not going to be a very difficult game. Now, obviously, leveling is quite tedious. A lot of leveling required. I don't know if I'd be able to do this, say, at all 70. So that's kind of part of it. I guess I am a little bit over leveled for this. I probably could have did this lower, but as you see, some of the key operative points there. I mean, I could have did this with level 50s if needed, because I would just bring Gengar, and I'd bring 2 Gengars and a Grass type for that dude, and I would bring Wobbufett for Articuno, and that'd be 4 out of his 6 Pokemon dead. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'm really enjoying this game. Hope you guys are as well. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, see you guys in the next one.